the kings and queens, stepping clean as a whistle when we be on the scene. Then adjusting our crown, can you see what we mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We are the kings and queens, stepping clean as a whistle when we be on the scene. Then adjusting our crown, can you see what we mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm really trying to be there for my people. Unified, be there for the sequel. You and I speak, I hope I reach you. We the vibe, QOC gon' teach you. My peoples, are you with me? Where you at? So much going on in the world, we just have to face the facts. I've been making marks in the world, so you know I can't relax. Gotta get it, got it till it's good, then be able to run it back. Hold up, we are the kings and queens, stepping clean as a whistle when we be on the scene. Then adjusting our crown, can you see what we mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We are the kings and queens, stepping clean as a whistle when we be on the scene. Been adjusting our crown, can you see what we mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Hey.
We back.
Left,
we back.
Right,
we back.
left, right, left, right, left. Get on up.
About face. Okay.
About,
okay.
Who saw it? Peter Pablo. When that Peter Pablo that did that?
I was, being ex-military, I was really about to go into.
I'm sorry. I went to the rap. I'm sorry.
Okay. I didn't know where we were going with it, so.
I thought you were gonna rap the line after that.
I remember the song. I didn't know we were about to go into.
I am a little older than Miss J. Marie, so maybe I went back a little.
What's the Petey Pablo song?
You remember Peter Pablo when he came?
Oh yeah.
My goodies. He rapped that with Sierra.
Yeah, but where
he had a song called Left, Right, Left, Right, Left, Right, Left. Anywho. Because she's thinking, and I don't want her to go to her phone and pull up the lyrics because y'all know Jay Will.
I was thinking of, what's that song? Throw your head or put the
like a
helicopter North Carolina. I don't know why I thought that song.
You will go there. You will go to the helicopter. Okay.
I didn't know why. Yeah.
Welcome, y'all.
We weren't on the same page.
Oh my God. This is our first 2025 movie review
show for Seriously Unserious, right? And it happens to be Women History Month.
Y'all, we got one, and y'all know I'm country. Y'all, we got one today that just broke so many barriers and flooded us with so many emotions. But and before we get into it, it is 666 by Tyler Perry. I know people have mixed emotions when it comes to him and some of his productions. And the way he puts and exhibits his movies. We are coming out of Black History Month, but we are honoring the women this month. This movie touches all of that. And I just want to say to my girl that's sitting here, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
It makes you appreciate the stuff that people endure for us to have this so-called thing called freedom, y'all. I don't take it by granted. I watch them do what they do to only deliver mail at the end. And I'm like, I ain't going through none of that.
None of that.
No.
None. Do you hear me? So to make sure we say the name right, because I know I've messed up the name multiple times. I had to look at it again. The 688 is the Tyler Perry movie. But unbeknownst to me, y'all, I watched the documentary thinking that was the movie. So I was like, oh, Tyler Perry did a documentary. This is very, historically accurate. And I was telling Egypt all about it, y'all, and I'm just all excited. And she's like, yeah, Kerry Washington's character. And I'm like, who is Kerry Washington? And I'm like, baby, didn't none of these look like actresses? They look like regular people. And I'm like, they didn't go into the story. And lo and behold, we figure out I had not watched the movie, y'all. So I will be back with maybe like
interesting.
Yeah.
Is when you do watch it. I want to see how much the detail in this was. So I was triggered from everything in here. It's a lesson for everything, for Black women in being in boss situations. Let me just start here. Me and J. Marie have been grinding since I met her, since we start collaborating with each other. I want to say last August. And it has been a journey working with us. And I'm just going to say that. Loneless, endless nights. And Kerry Washington character has this sidekick that's behind her. So when she get weak or she come out of character, her girl is like, nah, we that's not what we doing today, sis. We know they setting us up. And me and this girl sitting on this stage have had these conversations like, yeah, sis, yeah, they coming for us. Yeah, they setting us up. And it just triggered me so much about how we run business relationships and friendships. But the key thing was the support in this movie. We all need that support, y'all. And the circle that these women and the trust that they poured into each other was just so awesome. We're going to get into this trailer, but it just broke so many barriers that if you ever feel like, and I've been feeling like this lately with everything that's going on, that you can't catch that breath or you know, hey, let me just go and throw in the towel. This movie gives you the motivation to say, no, I'm not. It's love stories in this beautiful, classy movement. I was taken away by what Tyler Perry did with this movie.
So he
truly,
changed the
it's
game.
one of these films, like if you have a girls' day, like you say, okay, sisters, we just gonna get around, and it's one of them movies. Because I promise you, each character, you're gonna look at your friends on the couch and be like, yeah, that's you, Johnny, each character had this just exuberance about themselves. Yeah, where you could actually sit down and talk. We thought Divorce in the Black kind of triggered the men. And
it triggered the women too. It triggered the women too. We can't.
Yeah, but them men went off on us.
Curls not doing. Oof, sorry, y'all.
The curls ain't quite.
They being a little disorganized.
I'm not used to all that hair. Let me just go there first. I'm not used to all that hair, but everything has to change. And I guess my girl is going through what she want to do right now. So, it is what it is. But welcome to the show where we are doing the movie review done by no other than Mr. Tyler Perry. This is the first one, which is strange because we actually had, we got some good ones coming up, y'all. We had reached out to some directors and stuff like that, but God always has a backup plan. We supposed to did this movie review last October, November or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I felt like it was last year.
Yeah.
And you know what? It wasn't the right alignment. That's just what you had to, no, it wasn't the right alignment.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. Too much going on.
Without further ado.
These women, I was going to say, these women had a lot going on.
Carrie is one of she up there. Her and Taraji are two of my favorite, and of course, Vivian Davis. But they, to get that dramatic.
Viola
Davis. I mean,
Viola. Okay, I was like, Vivian?
Babe, I'm thinking about Fresh Prince of okay, Egypt, it's going to be all right. That
was a good Black woman. That was a dope Black woman. Both of them were dope Black women, actually.
But them my go-to women when it comes to dramatics or them being able to really make a character believable. They did that from the tone of Carrie's voice to her posture. I think Cookie, I call Taraji Cookie because she's an Empire. But I think Taraji could have pulled it off, but Tyler, yeah. And I was thinking, I was like, wonder if you would have put both of them in that movie. I think they'd have been doing it too much. Because them some bad actors together. But this was so well put together. Yeah, we don't know what our people went through before us. I don't know what Jay went through when she did the service. But I'm telling you, if I would have had to do what these ladies did in that time,
baby, I ain't go through nothing close to what them women went through. Nothing even remotely close. So I cannot. It don't hold a candle to none of that.
Oh my God! And we start with the trailer.
Soldiers, we have been ordered to provide hope. Forward march! I realize the magnitude of this situation. But this is our mission. And we will not fail.
And Tyler Perry, you got to hit with this one. I will say that. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this movie, and maybe we just waited too late to kind of touch it. But during these sensitive times, I think this was the perfect time for QOC to kind of watch this. I suggest any Black woman and Black man, especially if you're in the business or the field, Black men, where you're saying you want to see how to help the Black woman, or you're interested in the relationship side of a Black woman, this is the movie to show you what sometimes us Black women go through, and y'all think we have it so light and so easy, and we don't. I think this is one of these relationship movies, like for real, where you can sit down and understand the male perspective as well as the woman perspective. And I'm going to tell you why. But this story starts off like this. This young white Jewish male, Abram, falls in love with Dana, which is a Black woman. And he's getting ready to go off into war, and she's about to graduate high school. He's well off. He's rich. And I want to say that Dana, she wasn't in poverty. So I'm going to say she was more of a privileged Black girl, which is kind of strange to see.
Maybe middle class, maybe?
Yeah, middle class. She was very well middle class. Nice home. Her mom and aunt stayed together. They had this catering business where they catered for the rich white folks. So they got to do things and go places a lot of Black people couldn't. They was trying to get her into a university. That's what they wanted her to do when she graduated. And they was doing all this cooking and catering to send her to this.
Okay.
Abram finally tells her before he goes to the army that he loves her. Broke my heart in two. And he said, how can somebody judge you on the color of your skin when I love you? Oh my God. I start slinging slot. Like, oh my God, love is colorblind. Love is colorblind. And they had these funny, quirky jokes. It kind of put me in the mind of maybe a J. Marie relationship. It's one of them kind of quirky like things.
Okay.
Where they fit, you just don't understand. But I was just thinking about you, and okay. And I'm like, oh, you you know, like, and I think it was the conversation me and you had where you say, I'm not worried about what nobody thinks. This is what I'm doing right now. And that's the mentality she had. And Abram goes off to war. Her mom doesn't disapprove of it. Like the whole story was, I was just waiting on the mom say, get your black, da da da. Like Tyler Perry didn't use nothing vulgar, none of that in this movie. And of course, the mom wants her to be with somebody black, but they know like she's in love with this boy, and they know he is really, really, really well off. Abram goes off and promised to come back, gives her a ring. Y'all already know how the story goes. She doesn't hear from him. She's waiting. She's checking the mail every day. Postal service pulling up. Not only her, but another family is checking the mail every day to hear from their son.
Oh, so they tell the story through.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like that. So they're telling the story through the people who missed the mail, people who didn't get the mail. It
was so subliminal. So subliminal the way he told this story. I was in awe. Like, yeah, from the, and then you get triggered because y'all know, like, Trump is actually trying to privatize the postal service, which, you know, we're taking out the union base and, you know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm going through my head, all this stuff that's going on now, and I'm referring to this movie. So I become triggered, like, off the top. Yeah, she doesn't hear from Abram, but finally, Abram's dad comes to visit her and gives her the letter with the dog tags that he's dead. Oh my God. My heart just crumbled.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be more but those times, yeah, that's what it was.
They were dying left and right. And they show the scene, but you're not putting two and two together at the beginning of the movie. They show the scene where Abram, because he was a pilot, so he was shot out of the air. They show his body, and they show one of his troop buddies reaching in his pocket to grab this letter that he was supposed to get ready to send his boo thing, and it was bloody. But because the mail system was so jacked up, this letter, she never got it, and she thought that he had forgot about her. So one day, walking home, like, she looks up and she sees an airplane in the sky, and she's like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do. Abram started visiting her by spirit. It was like that movie Ghost.
Yeah, I was going to say Ghost. It was giving the Ghost, you know, a nod to Ghost.
I was just, so she's like, okay, I'm going to the army. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And I like, look at J. Marie hard-headed, stubborn self telling people what she going to do. And they were like, no, you're going to go to the university. And she's like, no, you don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. But you got to remember, she was a middle-class Black girl that she was in a South era. She didn't have to do anything hard, nothing hard. So I don't know what she was thinking when she got ready to go, but she went. And on the train, that's where this friendship comes about. It's a couple of young ladies, and one of them, oh my God, my baby swears is J. Marie. But she was like, they was trying to get her to move because of her skin complexion. She was like, no, I am a Negro. You know, like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, her mouth on her, gonna get her. Like, but they build this bun on the thing, and they have this one wild card, which Scooter says me because of her mouth slick. But but they build this bun, and then they go. And Poe Dana, she can't cut the boot camp training. Like, she's struggling. She get 2 strikes off the top. Like, hey, you got one more, you out of here. And so she thought Kerry Washington didn't like her, but that wasn't what it was. She was building her to be tough because she saw something in her. Okay, we're gonna fast forward through all of this. They're waiting on admission, which they would never send the Black women off to fight because the white general under Roosevelt was like, no, Black people are not qualified to do this. We're not sending y'all. We're sending the white girls. And all the white women went. And they kept looking like, okay, well, when is our turn? So basically they were tricked to go on a mission, and Carrie thought they were going to fight. Come to find out, no, that's not what you're doing. And they put them on a ship, sis. They let Carrie and her road dog ride this plane. And they tell her not to open up these orders until they over the Atlantic. And that's when she find out her crew is in the middle of the ocean. And it's like, sis, I was triggered. I thought about Roots. You know how they, sis, the women were throwing up. They were seasick. They were, I was triggered so much. I said, you motherfuckers, I'm just going to go there. But Abram comes again. Like, hey, baby, it's in you. It's in you. Like, don't quit. Don't fold. Don't, it's in you.
I'm always interested in the cinematic storytelling when you introduce the idea of ghosts. So how did that, was it like a voiceover or
no, it was like he was there and he was physically touching her and stuff, which was creepy. But if you're romantic, and I guess if you were in love like that and she was missing him like that, maybe that's what she needed, kind of thing. Okay, I'm telling you, he did this. Oh my God. So anyway, she gets the thing that, okay, your girls are on this boat, but when they land, you got to remember, they don't like black people over there. When they land, they need, I don't care how sick they is, they better be ready to march. And they need to march. They need to be suited and booted and ready to march. Carrie hot. She upset because she's like, oh my God, they got my girls. She has to go to see the people in the Pentagon or wherever they're at. And they're talking about us like we are dogs. Black women. I would never want a black woman. I'm talking about the talk. I wanted Kerry Washington to say, hey girl, come out of character, please. Like, please punch him one good time. Like, please. Oh my God. So the women get there. They look suited and booted. I was so proud. I have never been so proud to see us march. Them women was together, Jay. They was on one accord.
I've seen clips.
Woo! When I say clips, they was ready. They was ready. My girls was ready. And all through the march, I said, you better work. You better work. And she was calling out the commands, and I mean, they was on point. I said, you better work. You better represent us. Just that sense of, I'm black. I'm proud watching this. Like, we're going to, we coming over here to do, girl, it was a setup for failure. They set them up. They put them in a building with rats and all this. But these women were so talented, Jay. They conformed that big old school. They had a beauty salon in that bad boy with the hair dryers and the Marcells.
Okay. So they made it work. And I think that just speaks to black women being industrious, being innovative, just being such a sisterhood, such a bond, and recognizing, I think that we can all have weaknesses and we can all have strengths. And it's up to us to be sisterly, to point it out, but to also help lift up and encourage and motivate. And that movie, I have yet to see it. I will, but just even hearing the documentary on it, the documentary was so, obviously it didn't have all the theatrics of the rest of the stories and things like that. You don't see that until Tyler brings it out in the 688. But the documentary, I was like, wait a minute, what is this? I wanted to turn it off because I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel like the movie. But I was like, let me watch it and let me see what's going on. And I'm hearing from the different people telling the women of the 688 Central Postal Directory Battalion, get the whole name out there, they telling this story, those who are still, I guess all these different interviews had happened over years. So this being put together over years was one of the things where it was like these documentaries didn't just happen in one situation, one sitting. So you got to see some of the women, the sisters or the family members of the women kind of telling the story that they were told. And it was just like, wow. To Mel? Like, what the, like, ain't no way in. You think about our resilience and our ability to take on shit as Black women today. Would we be so full of ourselves that we'd be like, I'm not doing that shit? What? Man? Ain't we on emails now? Like, I will organize your email directory or your file system before, we go and put ourselves in those kind of situations. So that spoke to Black women's unity through this whole torturous time frame. Also, the fact that we were in a situation of not necessarily just getting out of slavery, but there's still that mentality of racism. Then you have sexism, then you have genderism and classism and all these other isms in this movie that they had to endure. And I saw clips of it, and just the amount of clips that I saw, I was like, whew, how do you, Kerry Washington, as a Black woman playing this character, step out of that character?
I would have to come out of character.
Take that character off. With this white man just yelling at you and
calling you a gal. Calling you a gal. No respect. None. Yeah, she received none.
And just getting into that character and the artistry that she brings to it, the life that she brings to that character. I know that woman would have been proud. I know I'm not good at names. I'm trying to even look at my notes to find the name of the lady, the actual lady, but the lady she played, the lady she portrayed
was Sherry Adams, Captain Sherry Adams.
Captain Sherry Adams. Okay. I know she would have been proud because that movie, it tells the story. Like, it's almost like he fills in the blanks of that documentary. Like, and I haven't seen the movie, y'all, but just from what you're telling me, it's like, oh my God, the documentary is the story behind the movie, the cinematics. But then when you look at how he pulls from the stories of those people, because you got to think about it, we don't know that from the history. You have to imagine what it would be like to find, oh my God, to have written to your family member. And that's the only form of communication at the time. You're not emailing nobody, nothing.
No.
There's no cell phones. There's nothing like that. It's literally, that's the only communication method. And you don't know what is going on with your loved ones. You can't make a phone call to figure out nothing unless you got a CB radio or whatever the types of communication.
They were doing telegrams, girl. They was using telegrams. And the only reason this got it,
that's the only thing I know about.
Yes. And the only reason this movement got started was, and he shows it at the beginning, this concerned mom, like, hasn't heard from her two sons that's over here fighting the war. And she's checking the mailbox. And of course, the way he splits it to tell the stories of two different families. So what she does, she goes to Roosevelt House. She stands out there for days, day in, day out, in the rain, in the sun. And so Eleanor Roosevelt's like, what is this woman doing? Like, what is going on? And so the butler is like, hey, she wants to speak to you. And I love the compassion that the first lady of the country shows to this everyday civilian. And I was triggered because we just saw what just happened with Zelensky right before our eyes on TV. I was triggered. The humbleness this woman showed to this mother that said, hey, I haven't heard from my son. She had pictures of her baby. She said, well, and the first lady was like, no, that's impossible because we have this in place, blah, blah, blah. And the woman's like, no. And it's not only me, it's other families. She invites her into their home, girl, and they get right to the bottom. And then, of course, Miss Oprah, I got to give y'all a laugh in her. Shows up and is like, hey, y'all not using the Black women in the army. I know for a fact you're not. And this Sherry Adams, she has degrees in physics, math. Like, this woman is so educated.
She's very degreed, yes.
And multiple. The white general, well, it's not at the top of our list. And so Roosevelt is like, what you mean? These people need to know that their family is okay and vice versa. That's how all of this gets rolling, which is crazy. But you said it, just the friendships that were built and supported, I think meant the most to me, because we see so many times amongst Black women, and let's just keep it real and let's keep it general, where it wasn't based on looks. The friendship wasn't based on who the baddest. It wasn't based on that. Like these women, they show women welding. They show women working on cars. Like all of them had bits and pieces to bring together. And that's the way I look at QOC. We all got all these different, and we got all these traumas because these women had traumas. Like Johnny, she was getting beat by her husband. So that's why she joined the service. She cracked jokes about it to ease the tension. You know, but we got all these traumas, but they built this bond. Like we're not gonna tear each other down. We're gonna build each other up, and we're gonna be all right. They didn't even bury us, you guys, as Black soldiers. 2 of the women died, and they had to collect money amongst themselves to give them a burial in the cemetery that's over there in Europe. That's how much they hated us, y'all. And these women had to go back and perform their job like nothing happened.
Day in, day out. Yep.
This is where Dana finds out that her husband, well, let me not call him her husband, but Abram is at the cemetery too when they bury these 2 women soldiers that got killed by a bomb. So Kerry Washington being the best boss ever, see, it pays to have compassion. Like, hey, sis, go on over there. If you know the day that he died, all the graves are marked by the date. And sure enough, there was Abram. Oh my God, my heart broke all over again. By this time, though, while they doing the mail, somebody stumbles across a letter that is actually supposed to come to Dana from Abram that she never received. So she reads it at the grave, girl, and my heart just broke. But all the time, every time Abram came to her, he was like, I want you to dig in. I want you, whatever that is, I want you, you found me. Like, because that's what she did. She went, I'm coming to find mine. That was the end game. But she fell in love too. And that relationship, that's why I said it could be a couple movie, because the man was like, hey, I've seen some things that you would never imagine. And he started crying. So to see this Black strong man show emotion, hey, wait a minute, what? Look at Tyler bridging the gap. And she said, hey, my heart, I'm over here. I'm lost. My mind ain't right. I got a man, I don't know where he at, and I'm torn. And he said, well, let's just be friends. Baby, they end up getting married, you know, at the end when Tyler reveals everything. But this movie broke so many barriers, and it gave so many lessons without the Medea dress. And no
shade to that.
Shade to that, Tyler Perry. If you see this, you know, sometimes we need the laughter to get us through things. You did your due diligence. Even when they was on the dance floor, like they did the jitterbug, some of that, I was like, oh, I had to grab my purse because a girl was putting her stuff on people's heads and bouncing around. And
that's how they did. That is how they danced back then.
You know, they did it like that. So I'm like,
that is how they dance.
That's where we get it from. So Johnny, of course, a little chubby one, gets out there and do the old school twerking. I just hollered. I said, look at Terry. She not hands on the knees. She just standing there and making it move. And I said, wow. See, that's why the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. We just done took it extremely to the left with this.
But there's one scene. Why do you think? Okay, go ahead.
You go on before we even go into this other clip. Okay. I want to hear what you got to say.
Why do you think that it's taken so long for them to tell this story? And why is it not yet even still emphasized or still being talked about like Divorce in the Black was, or like some of these other movies that he's done? Why do you think that it's still kind of like, that's just the drama, that's just the 6888? Why?
I never heard of these women. I never heard of these women. And me and you talked, and Chef D and Quincy talked, and Akila talked on our last show. My son didn't even know who the Tuskegee brothers were. He didn't even know blacks were allowed to fly airplanes. These stories have to be retold. I don't care if we add color to it or antics to grab somebody's attention. It's important that we tell these stories. I'm 48. I never heard of these women. I even know this stuff existed.
And then here's the other thing about it is, we've largely looked at the military as being male ran,
and white man ran.
achievements, white man ran, and all these different things. So to hear this is literally the only all black woman brigade or battalion, I forget the term.
Battalion, yes, ma'am.
That they used, but yeah, the only African American woman ran fully, and these women did what white men, black men couldn't do alone.
Or white women could do.
Yeah, because look at how the length of time, what it was like 6 million or billion. I don't even remember.
It was so, and they gave them a 6-month mark to do it, girl.
And they did it in under that. That was another thing. They did it in under that. And I thought that was amazing to see. Like, we not only did the job, but we surpassed it. But how often do we have to surpass everything just to even stand out for a little bit of something? We have to go above and beyond. We have to go above and beyond. We have to do so much more just to be seen.
And then when we do step out and we encompass,
like K-Dot says, like K-Dot said, pop out and show niggas. Then we the angry black woman. Then we too difficult.
I just fit to go there.
Then we doing too much. Then we being too emotional. Then we too triggered. Then we got too much trauma. No, baby, we don't. We are just operating in the circumstances and the environment that you provided us.
And we're not on the same playing field. We're not on the same playing field. Me and J. Marie talk about this all the time with the network. We're mostly men based. Let's go there. And with that, you have this Kerry Washington spirit where you say, you know what, I'm going to create something. We're not going to fail. I know it looks impossible. I know the odds that are against us. We know it hasn't been done. It hasn't been done to this capacity. It hasn't been done at this quality. Like me and J. Marie is doing bullet points. We know we got to do this to go.
You about to get me emotional, and I'm not trying. And I'm glad
I'm trying to go, but
I'm glad I don't have. Yeah.
So you do this stuff
on,
and you build a platform, and you build a safe place for your people. I think what hurts the most is when it's inside the camp. This movie didn't show nothing inside the camp, sis. It was no bickering. It was no women clicked off, like talking about this group over here. It wasn't that. We know we got a job and a mission, and we family, and they treated it as such. So I think I was triggered because I was like, well, why do I have to go through what I'm going through, or why do we, like you say, black women have to go through this kind of stuff when all we trying to do is do something positive? And to get, and we're not on the same playing field as a man would be if they did the network. And the key thing is y'all give more respect, this the trigger part, to a black male that's doing what we're doing, that's gonna probably cheat you, screw over you, versus a group of black women that say, hey, no, we're not doing it. We're gonna build, and we're gonna show y'all out of love, and we're gonna heal together.
And we're including you, and we're including you at the table.
At the head. We know our place. We're not saying that we over nothing. We know the place. We know what God ordained, and we're allowing you to take the position, but no order. That's all we ask. No order. And it's just been, this movie triggered me so much because I said we will not fail. QLC will not fail.
Well,
we have no option to fail.
And there's an order to things, but there's also an understanding that when you're on the team, you act as a team. It's not a me or an I, it's a we.
And it takes a team to do it. And we realized that off top. Me and Jay, we stood up all night and we were just like, we still got A, B, C, D, E, F, G to do.
Right. We need more people. You recognize as a leader, you cannot do it alone. And I think that's a great leader. That's a great leader. So you, ma'am, are a great leader. I want to give you your flowers.
I ain't got no Kleenex in here.
I don't either. So can we go to another another thing because
and you have been a great companion.
I'm over here
sister,
trying not to.
A counselor, my road dog, my confidant, my will to go on at times. We fight, y'all. Y'all please don't think that me and her don't, baby, because I'm not even gonna say this alpha female thing, but we're both passionate about what we're doing in this vision and where we want to see it. This girl here has a nonprofit that's geared toward youth to get them positioned to do what we're doing right now. So Tyler Perry, KC Connects, is connected to QOC. And so y'all think I'm a boss. She a boss too on the other end of things. And it took us going through trauma in another situation to realize that we got what it takes to do something. And it's been a rough ride like 666. But I'm like, Carrie, I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
The 666
666, girl, wait a minute.
The 6888. I just seen the little name. I keep on putting it out of order. The 6888.
Because I'm thinking about 3-6 Mafia, the rap group. See, that's why I have to, my ADD, and I have to make that joke because I start crying in a minute.
That's what I'm saying. This is how you stop crying. Make a joke out of nowhere.
But it's your fault, Tyler.
Away.
You making us have a whole counseling therapy. We supposed to be dictating this movie. We pointing to each other, but shit.
Looking at my calendar, like, is it that time of the month yet? What is going on? Why am I
next week? But his movie Trick, and I told you that when I left you the voice clip, I said, sis, I don't know if I'm emotional because hormones was supposed to kick in, but I literally cried from the time I watched this movie to the time I cut it off. If it does not trigger you, then you might want to go back and check yourself, like for real. It taught me so many lessons on just how to maneuver after the movie. Like, oh, okay, Egypt, yeah, you can do this a little different, a little better. And it's okay to stand up with your chest out, but it's okay also to show that soft side. And she showed that in a couple of scenes. That's what makes an effective leader, y'all. It's not about the Hitler and the dictator and I'm this and I'm that and you roaring and you know how to put words together, because at the end of the day, that woman had all them degrees. She was still just her. She was still just a coon. They call her a coon in the movie. I told that movie theater up. I promise you would have called me a coon.
It might have, and I think it was best that we didn't see the movie in the theater. Because it came out. It came out on Netflix. I was watching the trailer December something. So we would not have been able to see it until after December anyway. I think we thought it was already out, but either way it goes, being at the movie theater probably would not have been the best situation for me.
Not that. And we're gonna roll into this next clip, y'all.
I think I'm gonna have you relieved of your duties. And I'm gonna bring a white lieutenant in here to show you how to run this unit.
Over my dead body, sir.
What did you say?
Sir, with all due respect, my battalion is working day and night in horrible conditions. We have no heat most of the time. It gets so cold that the women have to put the water in helmets to wash themselves. You gave us this place to turn into a barracks with no bed and no help. And my women are harassed. And then they are befriended only to be asked if they have tails under their skirts after midnight because of the rumors of white soldiers. You sent a chaplain not to pray, but to spy on us. We just lost 2 soldiers to a UXB who were highly trained, and I know because I trained them, and you wouldn't even give the orders for them to have a proper burial. Now, I know we are fighting a war, but our war starts with being Negro. We are fighting on every front. So as I said, sir, over my dead body, sir.
Baby. When she did that part, I stood up. You slap him. Now, girl, slap him.
That scene was the one where I was like, oh, this movie, I'm gonna have to take my time with it. I cannot rush
to
watch this movie just for the sake of. We may even have to come back with a part 2. This might even have to be a special womanhood thing because it's gonna be a lot more to talk about.
This was the part. She had preached and preached to her girls to never come out of character, to never break, to never show emotion to the white man, first of all. But when she came out of character, I said, about damn time. Now, I was nervous because I know in the Army, she could be
how it can go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but her standing up for her women to say, no, I'm not going to let you discredit what we're doing here, what we have done. Because, like, they didn't have no instructions, Jay. They were just like, here the mail. Y'all figure out where it go.
Tons and tons
hangers
and
hangers of mail. What? Yes. No heat. And it was cool.
I think we need to watch the actual documentary on Tubi. It's an amazing documentary. And then I'll watch the movie. And then we come back and do a womanhood topic around that movie because I think that's a powerful conversation. And it's Women History Month. Why not? That absolutely fits. That absolutely is the conversation we need to have. And I'm gonna call it. So we're gonna do a round table with some of our women.
Yeah.
For QOC.
And I think that would be a good one. And then you could kind of see, because I would like to know, watching it as a woman, what character you more relate to, like that you saw yourself in. I saw myself as Kerry Washington, and Jay was my sidekick. And then I saw myself as Johnny, the country that say anything, do anything.
And I see myself as Kerry Washington, but I'm interested in the rest of the characters because I know I'm not always Kerry Washington.
No,
I know I'm more the one.
Yeah. They all exhibited, all of them made all of us sitting here. That's the way he told this story. No woman was bigger or littler than the other. How they thought, their thought process of how they figured out to move this male sis. Girl, when you watch that, you're gonna be like, oh my God.
But
and that's how me and Egypt do when we can't
and
figure
that's what I'm saying. Just to understand the amount of sisterhood, the amount of put the pride to the side, set your ass down, stop, get out your own way. It was just so many different things I saw. And some of these, just the not the skits, but the shorts of the movie, the clips of the movie that I have saw. It speaks to how when women can put down their pride, we can put down whatever our differences are and come together for an amazing cause and really solve a problem that was massive. Like, what kind of shit this day and age could we do that as women, Black women?
And she took criticism very well. I love that for her as a leader. You know how some women, oh no, you can't tell me that this is the way we doing it and it's gonna be done this way. No, when Dana went over there and she was like, hey, I noticed. And so Carrie like, well, you know, you really not supposed to be over here looking at this, but she didn't stop her either. So they, with that one little thing, they were able to really, really start moving and making progress. That's why I say every little thing that we do and contribute to QOC and KC Connects and whatever else we got in our life, it makes a difference. This showed me that there's no job too small that does not get recognized. And when we get there as Black people and stop being hung up on the title or I'm the founder, I'm the I'm the original. And when we come out of that mindset and realize, okay, I'm with my brothers and sisters and let's go, then yeah, we can change the narrative. And that's what Tyler Perry did. He changed the narrative in this. I'm telling you, it wasn't a cuss word. It wasn't us calling each other, hey, B, hey, you my B. It wasn't none of that. It was so perfectly done. Oh my God. He did. That's all I could say.
I was debating because I'm like, do I want to do a Netflix membership just for this one movie? I think I am. I think I am. I'm just gonna watch more movies to make sure I get my money's worth
for the 1 month. Yeah, and then cancel it. Because I will say, I'm gonna put it like this: if we pay what we paid to watch King of Dallas, this is very much well worth it. Yeah. This needs to be shown and shared with women, with church groups. Like, this is something I would love to hear a men perspective, because there were black men in the army that had all these different emotions and couldn't show them. You know, they were put on the front line to do stuff and to see stuff where the other colors were, you know.
So did they show the dynamic of the black men in the movie with the military?
Not really. Okay. One part in there that I watched is when they go to the dance and Carrie, you know, all the, I guess what you would call lower rank men and women are dancing, and so her friend is like, "Hey, go down the floor and dance," and she was like, "No, I'm a captain, and I don't see nobody in here on my level." And I'm like, "Ooh, that's a topic. That's a topic." Because, you know, we always say that we as women, when we get to a certain level, and she didn't either. She went right over there to the lieutenants and and that's where she hung out at. And I said, "Ooh, Tyler, you did that, because that's a whole nother topic. Why couldn't she dance with the regular men?"
Well, but that was Kerry Washington's character.
She went dance with the regular rank guys.
But I think it maybe
it's messages. He was doing messages in the movie.
It speaks to the level of, well, a woman should seek a man that is at her level or that can teach her. I mean, that's the way.
But guess what? We would have took it as the average black man would have took that as. You see how these heifers do? They got a little power, a little something.
Well, but
not the mature people. I'm talking about those that's not mature.
But you got to understand, with the military, if you're not from the military, you don't understand it. So the enlisted do not interact with the officers. That's almost like it's almost like the bosses, the CEOs can't mess with. It kind of falls a little bit different in the workplace, but in the military space, the officers and the enlisted typically don't interact because of the rank difference and the classism that they have for the military. So that might have been what he was also emphasizing, but it also probably also had a double meaning, knowing the fact that you're telling a movie in a cinematic fashion. You want to give a lot of symbolism where you can also have a double meaning to it. So then people can interpret it in different ways. Like, you would interpret it as it's a class thing where, like, she's looking at the men as lower.
But I don't have army experience. So now that you have shared your insight, I'm like, oh. See, that's why I say it could be a double meaning. Opinions to come up with an understanding instead of leaning until my understanding. I'm talking to somebody that actually been in the service that knows, hey, you know, you can't do that.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, they had that was like super emphasized back then. Now in more present day, I don't think that's as emphasized. There's still a structure, there's still a command of a chain of command and all that kind of thing, but the enlisted and the officers are two separate entities. That's how they treat them. So yeah. So it could be that they were emphasizing the seriousness of the separation in that capacity, because back then, like I said, they were adamant about, you don't do this. They were adamant about the race thing. So they were definitely, military was very specific about, you don't do this, you don't do that. A soldier doesn't da 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 da. Now we have so many different additional rules and additional addendums and all this other type of thing that maybe that has changed and it's not as given much emphasis nowadays.
Gotcha. And when she stands up, he goes back and snitches and calls to the White House and tried to do a court martial. And in the middle of his phone call, mail has been delivered to the men, and everybody's screaming and hollering because they are excited. They are getting letters from their loved ones. And he like, what is going on outside? Looking ass.
Well, see, there was a scene I saw where the chaplain, they assigned a chaplain to her unit,
That Negro
was spying on,
he was spying on them and typing letters back to them saying that she was the devil. He was so disrespectful. He did a whole sermon in front of her whole battalion saying that, yeah, you don't have a great leader. You will never da-da-da-da. And then that spoke volumes into me, because how many times have we heard that, oh, yeah, y'all not going to go A, B, C, and D because you're not doing it right. You're not doing it. And she sat there in that church, sis, with a straight face. She didn't stand up. She didn't come out of character. She let him do what she wanted to do. But guess what she did? When he got through with that sermon, she went into his chaplain office and found all the letters, tore them up, and say, hey, you got to go. I don't know where you're going, but you're getting up out of here. And it messed him up. She said, nah, wait a minute. She a preacher daughter. Come on now. She's a preacher daughter. She said, I know Genesis to Revelation, Revelation to Genesis. No. What you're not going to do. I said, oh, sometimes you got to pop out and show. You ain't got to go. You ain't helping us, because he's going to be there praying.
You will be making your way out of here. She did say.
And said, do you need help with your bags? And yeah, he was gone.
We gave him his letter, didn't she?
In a beautiful way. The love story of Dana, she wraps it up and says, that they got recognized for doing a bang up job in Europe. Then they're sent over to France to do the same thing, where they are hated. She said it was actually more horrible over there. Her and the guy that she's met at the beginning, after the service, they got married. We're going to end it on this last legacy where Tyler Perry actually gets to talk to one of the last women. Then we might have to do a part 2, like Jay said, because it was just so many parts of this movie. Carrie got the recognition that she needed. She got write-ups in the paper and stuff like that. But look what all she went through, you guys, to even get that acknowledgement and to be torn down and saying, you know what, we're going to put, we don't even respect you enough. We're going to bring a white woman in over y'all. And we're going to court-martial you. And for her to stand up in that moment, sometimes it takes us standing up in moments. And I had a stand-up moment not too long ago to say, hey, nah, that ain't what we're going to do over my dead body. And when you have a vision, and I really think she was there for the right reason. When you got people around you for the right reason, this is how I'm going to end my little part. You have to have the right people supporting you when you are moving toward a vision, a mission, or an accomplishment. And it was shown in this movie. Everybody played a particular part. When they were weak, one was strong. When one was strong, one was weak. Even when Carrie was like, hey, they fixed to court-martial me. Her being the strong woman she was, her people felt that pressure and stopped working and say, hey, no, sis, we see you. We see you. And it takes that. And I tell Jay all the time, it'd be random stuff. She'll do something. I'll be like, girl, I love you. Love you real bad. Or, hey, sis, I see you. Or, hey, sis, I'm proud of you, because she is her toughest critic and I am my toughest critic. Because, y'all, when this stuff don't flow right, we be in the back like, oh, my God, what did I do? What did I do? And I have to say,
yes.
No, ma'am. Don't you ever forget we was running against Diddy in the morning. Don't you ever forget that we did A, B, C, and D. Don't you ever, and it's just pointing at remembrance in what we have accomplished. And yes, we got a long way to go, y'all. And this is our testament. This is our first one for 25. I don't know what God gonna have us do next month, but we gonna, y'all see us on here. We're gonna be laughing and talking. This is one for the books, y'all. This is one of my favorites for 25. We'll see how the mid-summer come, but this is definitely one. If you want to see sisterhood and friendship, like this is the movie.
I think we just on the end note or the tail note, we'll say,
yeah,
we should probably do a rom-com next time. We need to lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah,
seriously serious and not unserious with some of these movies. So we want to give y'all variety, but this movie definitely was one to really,
just like The Voice in the Black. Remember, it triggered everybody, and they did so many numbers on YouTube. We was just like, oh shoot, And then we had to come back and do a round table. Remember, because the men was like, "Oh, no, what y'all not gonna do is say it's our fault." And when we started looking at it in a perspective of a man, we were like, "Oh,
okay." You get to see, you get to hear a different perspective, and I think that helps you with understanding the big picture of anything. Is being able to understand or respect other people's perspective, but get the perspective, you know. So I think this definitely deserves a round 2 on womanhood for sure.
Tyler Perry from the QOC, from Egypt and J. Marie from Seriously Unserious, we thank you. We appreciate you. We hope some kind of way somebody get this to you so you can watch it or get clips of it. We'll clip it up for you. Like, we are honored in the era that we live in. It's hard to say I'm Black and I'm proud in the same sentence. You gave us just that much motivation to say, hey, I could go on just a little while longer to see what the end will be, because we saw what the end was for these women. So you definitely poured encouragement into us. We appreciate it. Madea makes us laugh. We don't take nothing from you. But shout out to Shed G, that's your double. That's gonna get this. But we also want to pour into when we see projects like this that highlight us in such a positive way that does not have to teach us today's lessons, but goes all the way back to show us the reason why we are where we are now. And the reason that me and J. Marie could sit on, a Black girl and a mixed girl could sit on the same platform together and say, hey, I love you, my sister, I love you. And we could build something to collaborate. So it's because of people that shine highlights that we could do what we do. So we appreciate you. We're going to end this on one video honoring our legacy, which he talks to this last lady. Like I was telling you guys, we're not coming back. We're going right on out with our outro. We will see you guys next month. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know it's not one of the comedy ones like y'all used to seeing me and Jay act up, but we can act up and we will act up.
We will.
Maybe
we
next
got
month.
A rom-com. I got some.
But this is one you couldn't, because I was like, should I stand up and twerk like Johnny was doing on the
No.
She was just making it move. She wasn't doing no, and I was just like, he did that so classic because he could have did it so different. Tyler, you did this one. This one for the books.
I don't know that
we love you.
The twerking part.
If you saw her twerking, because I'm like, is she twerking? I said she is, but she's standing up and she's not doing. It was done in a seductive way, but it wasn't like what we do now, where you can hear the clapping. You know what I'm saying? And that's why. But what I like about Sarah Carey, say, you know what? You're gonna come here, you're gonna take a bath, your uniform's gonna fit, your hair gonna be done. You're not gonna come up in here with all this makeup on. You're gonna be presentable, you're gonna be she's the way she handled them girls and taught them so many positive lessons along the way. And it might have came out rough because of her title, but I know when they left the service, they, you know what I'm saying, they remembered all of that. They remember.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Kerry Washington. Shout out. I'm done. And we out. We'll see y'all later.
I would like to say one more thing, that I feel so honored that Tyler has chosen such beautiful women, such talented women to portray us. We just thought we were going over to do a little job. And here we are, 75, 80 years later, being honored in such a way. I feel it's just absolutely making tears come to my eyes, because we thought nobody even remembered us. And Tyler Perry has made it even more relevant that people are being made aware of what we did. So thank you so very much for bringing this out and letting the world know about us.
We are the kings and queens, stepping clean as a whistle when we be on the scene. And adjusting our crown, can you see what we mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We are the kings and queens. Stepping clean as a whistle when we be on the scene. Been adjusting our crown, can you see what we mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm really trying to be there for my people. Unified, be there for the sequel. You and I speak, I hope I reach you. We the vibe, QOC gon' teach you. My peoples, are you with me? Where you at? So much going on in the world, we just have to face the facts. I've been making marks in the world, so you know I can't relax. Gotta get it, got it till it's good, then be able to run it back. Hold up, we are the kings and queens. Stepping clean as a whistle when we be on the scene. Been adjusting our crown, can you see what we mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We are the kings and queens. Stepping clean as a whistle when we be on the scene. Been adjusting our crown, can you see what we mean? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.